I do think those strategies are very different. At the federal level, that's a long game, that's played through coalitions. And rarely does one single individual move a bill alone, at the federal level. So you have to combine your work with big professional organizations like AONL or like ANA, AHA, being present on Hill Days. That's how you make your voice heard there. I think the state level is where most of nursing's, what's the word I'm looking for, like operational reality, if you will, is actually decided, like our scopes of practice, our licensure compacts that Jackie mentioned earlier, workplace violence statutes, staffing legislations, all those things, that happens at the state level, and that tends to move a little faster, than the national or the federal level. For example, a Georgia General Assembly session is roughly 40 legislative days. So, my call to action there is that I have to have those relationships in the tank long before that session starts. They've got to know that I'm accessible to them, they're accessible to me. And then I believe the local level, in my opinion, is really about being present and problem solving, if you will. So, having relationships and conversations with your county commissioners, maybe, or your boards of health, your school boards, workforce development councils, if those exist in your local areas. That's where, in my opinion, things like, EMS coordination and community health investments and pipeline programs with local schools, that all happens at the local level. So that's kind of how I would distinguish maybe the three of those. It takes a long time at the federal level, and you can't do it alone. States are much faster, and relationships are key there. And then local is, all about what I would just say, maybe presence and partnership.